A new chapter begins, and it's another year where we have a Trails game to look forward to. There will be some mentions of Kuro no Kiseki here, but the only images I will show will be the characters themselves. Like always, I'll put a spoiler marker in at that time if you'd rather avoid it. Let's get started on some January Falcom news. Back on the 20th of December, an online event known as Falcom Day took place, where we got some of the latest news on the series and voice actor appearances to name but a couple of things. At this event there were a few notable highlights to take away. First of all, we got confirmation that Clouded Leopard Entertainment will be bringing Hajimari no Kiseki to Switch and PC for Asia, so I think they've pretty much got the entirety of the Trails series onto multiple platforms except for Sky at this point. And it's not just their work across multiple platforms, as they've been establishing pop-up stores in the likes of Taiwan to raise more awareness. A quick unrelated note as well that E6 Arc of Napishtim is coming to iOS and Android in Japan as well, so that will be interesting to see. There were also lottery draws for some Falcom merch, mostly centered around Hajimari, but I won't be showing those for spoiler reasons. There was also a further update from Kotobukiya regarding the Rin and Altina figures that were announced in October of last year. According to some members on the Falcom subreddit, they are currently still under development, and as of yet no prototypes have been shown, but Kotobukiya have stated that more news is coming in due course. So with this supporting announcement and an official statement from the Kotobukiya Winterfest event, it's safe to assume that it's now a matter of when rather than if. And finally, here come the Kuro images. The big reveal for Falcom Day was in regards to the new characters for Kuro no Kiseki. We only got the main protagonist and the heroine on this day, but anyone with a sharp eye or who know katakana might recognise the name of the artist who drew them. Katsumi Anami, who did the sprite work for Zero and Ao no Kiseki, is returning for the latest installment. Kondo stated in a recent interview that because of the more mature themes of Kuro no Kiseki, he wanted to bring the freelance artist back, as he believes that Katsumi's art embodies that more serious take. And I know there were quite a few in the fandom who were stoked to witness his return. As for the other main character, at least we're assuming he's going to be a main character, Falcom didn't leave him completely off the grid if their recent picture from the Falcom calendar was anything to go by. You can download this directly from the Falcom website, which I'll be leaving a link to, and if your eyes are sharp you'll notice some familiar faces in the background. Speaking of interviews with Kondo, the visual collection of Hajimari no Kiseki was recently shipped out, and within there was a Q&A with the man himself, which of course went over the two latest titles. This interview was translated by the likes of Hansuke and Juan, and I'll leave a link to Juan's website where you can find the full interview if you're curious. Let's just go over a few highlights for this video though. First of all, the what-if scenarios from the likes of Ao and Cold Steel 1 and 3 will apparently become more important to the overall narrative as we go further into the Trail story. I don't think that this will become the fulcrum of the remainder of the series, but I expect there'll be some shenanigans employed utilising this paradigm. I look forward to seeing how Falcom use this going down the line. We also got an estimated release date for Kuro in the second half of 2021, which is pretty much what many of us expected. As for Nayuta no Kiseki Kai, which was also announced at the shareholder meeting, Falcom want to release that before Kuro, and I believe it might have a similar release date to the likes of Zero and Ao Kai from last year. There was also a question regarding Kuro no Kiseki's role as a starting point for new players, and Kondo understandably said that he intends this game to be an entry point similar to Cold Steel 1. Now of course, this debate will continue on long after the Trail series ends. Some people believe Cold Steel 1 is a fine starting point, while others believe you should start from the very beginning. And I think these discussions will pop up more as Kuro comes close to release. My frequent viewers will know my stance on the matter, but all I really care about is that more people get involved with the series, and if Kuro will provide that possibility, then I'm all up for it. There were then more mentions of the mechanics being introduced to Kuro, but I won't touch on those as I believe Famitsu will put up monthly tidbits of the new title as we edge closer to its release, though there wasn't any this month. But when that time does come, we can cover them in more detail. Next is the merchandise, and again there's a lot to go over. So first of all, we got a little look at the limited edition of VIII. We didn't get a look on the inside at that time, but the design of the outer box looks very nice, as we come to expect from NIS America's limited editions, and very recently, this week in fact, they did show off the final version that will be sent out. Now, as much as I don't want to do this, we do need to touch on some bad news in regards to the limited edition as well. I'm sure some people have already found out the hard way by the time this video goes out. Unfortunately, prospective buyers of the game who ordered from the EU store who also live outside the UK are getting their limited editions cancelled due to the additional duty and VAT payments that have arisen from Brexit. And for those who don't know, the main warehouse for the European front of NIS America is based in the UK. Now what that supposedly means is that those who live outside the country and purchase it from the EU store will incur a much higher price to secure it, and that's if they choose to reorder it in the first place. A lot of people got affected by this, including myself, though I was fortunate to simply get a delay rather than an outright cancellation, probably because I live in the UK. Now admittedly I wasn't best pleased at the time, though when I look at it more rationally, this is not really NIS America's fault, and they did forewarn about this back in December. It's just a very unfortunate occurrence that's come about because of a situation that no one could predict. My condolences to you guys who got outright screwed. I hope you can figure out a workaround. Now moving away from melancholy, Kondo Studio also got involved with some Falcom goodness, putting up pre-orders for these LED acrylic plates of Tio and Wazi. They're fairly pricey, I will say that, but if you've got a spare dosh, this could be a nice addition to your collection. Back over in the West, and Pinbox were also teasing the potential development of a new Randy pin if they hit 1500 followers. As of yet, they're a bit short of that goal, so if you can show them some love, they'll hopefully get to work on that. Next, if you go to Picato Anime, you can get yourself some B2 tapestries from various arcs in the series. Now there's a big range of Falcom goods there, but again, it is quite pricey, probably more so than for the acrylic plates, as in some cases you're having to pay for the frame as well, but I feel I should mention it for those who might be interested. Honestly though, I'd understand if you'd want to steer away from this one to avoid gouging your wallet. Moving back to the games, in typical Falcom fashion, the Japanese release of Cold Steel 4 on Switch, which is due for March this year, will also yield a snazzy B2 tapestry if you pre-order it. Dependent on who you pre-order the Japanese Switch version from, you'll get some bonus goodies like they did with Hajimari. Animate will give you a cloth towel, Ami give you an acrylic stand of Rain, Estelle and Joshua. There are many more to choose from, so I'll put that link in the description as well if you want to see the full list of choices. And that's not all, because if you order from the Falcom website directly, which you will need a proxy site for at this current time if you live outside Japan, you'll also get this Kuro no Kiseki postcard celebrating Falcom's 40th anniversary. They are still in stock as of the time of recording. Is that all of it? No, there's more. On the Dengekiyo website, there are pre-orders available for a slew of Falcom related goods. Now be careful if you haven't played Hajimari no Kiseki, because as of the time of recording there is a big spoiler there for C's identity, but if you can avoid its listing on the top left, there are indeed some very cool things there, like the Erin pendant from Cold Steel 4, keychains, desk interior plates, towels, can badges, whatever the heck they are, and even a phone case, though I believe that is now sold out. Finally, moving away from Trails for a little bit, the limited edition of East Origin from Limited Run Games finally shipped out about a week ago, so people should be getting theirs very soon. I'll do an unboxing when I get mine, don't you worry about that. And before we end it off, let's go over those Western releases, and we'll start with a botched prediction from Jewel Shockers. So on Thursday, they put out this article stating that they found Hajimari images on the NIS America website, which potentially hinted at a future announcement. What they didn't realise is that these images were actually YouTube recommendations that came about because of the embedded video on the East 9 page. Since the video itself was an East 9 trailer from the Falcom YouTube channel, once it stopped looping, it would show recommendations to other Falcom games, including Hajimari no Kiseki. So what they were seeing were simply thumbnails for other videos. I feel for them in a way, because mistakes do happen, we are only human, but in conclusion, nothing to get excited about here guys. But let's get to the validated stuff now. NIS America announced that the Switch version of Cold Steel 4 will release on April 9th, 2021, though unfortunately a PC date is yet to be confirmed. I'd like to believe it will also come out around this time though. But of course it's not all about Trails this month, as the aforementioned East 9 is also on the horizon. NIS America have been running some contests for merch like this White's Cat plush, and of course like I said before, we have recently seen the limited edition shown off. On top of that, the demo for East 9 is now available in the West for PlayStation 4, so if you want to give it a quick gander to see what Adol's latest adventure has in store, you can check that out for yourself. Finally, it was mentioned by the Geofront that their hard work has nearly reached its apex, as the second editing part is now complete and they have moved on to testing. As for an estimated release date, they gave a tentative deadline for the end of winter, meaning this will be around the middle of March. Though this is by no means set in stone. If they were to get it out around this time though, it would be roughly a year since they released the Zero patch, which is unbelievable in terms of speed. Massive thank you to them once again, and English fans yet to play the Crossbell arc are not going to have to wait much longer. And that is it guys, January's news is complete, and naturally I'll be keeping an eye out for any new information as the year passes by. I would also like to thank Kwan and Hansuke once again, as many of the translated news tidbits are sourced from them. Give them a follow if you get the chance. Have a good time guys, and hopefully by the next news video many of us would have bathed in some East goodness. Peace.